Welcome to Not Your Ordinary Parts, a podcast where we talk about hard things associated with the human experience with the goal of increasing awareness, growth, and healing. You may hear information from professionally licensed therapists, life coaches, healers, doctors, etc. This information is not medical advice or therapy and is not meant to replace actual therapy or instructions given by a doctor or a personal therapist. I'm your host, Jalon Johnson. My guest today is Dr. Bruce Lipton. Dr. Lipton is an internationally recognized leader known for bridging science and spirituality, and also his groundbreaking research in cell biology and epigenetics that has transformed the understanding of the mind-body connection. As a former medical school professor and cell biologist, Dr. Lipton's career took a pivotal turn when he discovered that cells are profoundly influenced by their environment and beliefs, sparking his exploration of how our perceptions shape our biology. His best-selling book, The Biology of Belief, is a landmark work that reveals the power of the subconscious mind to impact our health and destiny. As a sought-after speaker, author, and thought leader, Dr. Lipton brings a unique perspective that fuses scientific rigor with spiritual insight, offering practical wisdom for living consciously and creating a life by design. Through his research, Dr. Lipton has shown that we are not bound by our DNA, but can alter our lives by challenging our beliefs, and that with a compelling message of self-empowerment, Dr. Lipton continues to inspire millions to break free from limiting beliefs and unlock their innate potential for healing and growth. So, Dr. Lipton, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being my guest.
Jalon, the name is Bruce, and so that way we can have a nice conversation now at this point, because we have some important things to talk about to empower an audience in a world that looks like it's undergoing crazy chaos, which it is. And I go, wow, what a coincidence. Everything seems crazy. I go, it's because we are, in fact, in the midst of an evolutionary upheaval. We're changing civilization for a simple reason, that to sustain the world today, this civilization, just that everything stays the same right now, it requires 1.6 planet Earth worth resources to support us. Well, we only have one planet Earth. We got a problem. Where the hell's the extra 0.6 coming from? Well, currently, by destroying the environment in which we live. So, in other words, we're actually creating our own self-destruction in this process of trying to live the way we're living. So what's the point? And the point is simply this. We have to change the way we're living, because we're living beyond our means. We can't keep doing this. So it says what? Well, first of all, where's the problem? I say civilization as it is today. The programming of culture, the way things that we believe today are creating the problem. So I said, then what does that mean? It says, well, we have to change the knowledge by which we're operating from. Knowledge is power. And the knowledge has changed. And the world we're living in is not in harmony with the new knowledge at all. As a matter of fact, as I mentioned, it's a state of self-destruction. But this is important. I say, why is it important? The answer is this. We cannot build the sustainable civilization that we're talking about on the foundation of today's civilization, because today's civilization is the cause of the problem. So what does it mean? It says today's civilization has to collapse before a new one can be built. And that means as one civilization, the current one is coming down, we're also putting the foundation in for the next level of a civilization. Is it coming down? NASA scientists, in reviewing the situation that we're living in today, have come to a very important scientific conclusion, and that is, within 20 years, we are facing an irreversible collapse of civilization. Emphasizing irreversible, we're not going back to some former history. It didn't work right then, so why should we go back and replay what didn't work? We have to move forward from where we are. So the reason I'm going through all this talky stuff right here is to say, look, the world is looking crazy, and it's happening. It's an accident. I say, no, it's a necessary part of manifesting a sustainable civilization by breaking the old one down. So we're in process breakdown right now. And when you look at the world, you go, yeah, everywhere there's chaos, all kinds of things going wrong. I go, That's because the symptoms of a system that is dying, that is failing. Now all of a sudden I said, well, then guess what? You have two choices. And Buckminster Fuller, a futurist from a long time ago, gave us the insight. And he said, don't go in and try and change the existing system. Step outside and build a new system. So we have two choices here. You can hold on to the existing system. I go, well, that's a dangerous game because it's in a state of collapse. It's not going to get better. So what's the other alternative? Let's collectively create a better version of civilization. And what happens? Well, people will gravitate to something that is more sustainable and healthier. And that means there's a very positive future rather than holding on to the one right now, which looks kind of hopeless. And I say, well, I'm glad it's hopeless because it's the cause of the problem. Delon, I hope I didn't overstep my bounds by just talking like that, but it's your show now. I'm going to say, and let's take it over. Master of Ceremonies, Delon. Thank you, sir.
No, not at all. Thank you for that, Bruce. I do want to give the audience an opportunity to get to know a little bit more about you. So if you wouldn't mind, would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself and how you got to who and where you are today?
Yeah, very happily. When I was going to school, I always loved going to school. It was fun because if you have good teachers, then it's like, oh, wow, I'm showing up for a fun day today. You know, one of my best teachers was my science teacher. I always love his name. Is Mr. Bangelsdorf. It sounds like something from, Harry Potter, Mr. Bangelsdorf. And I remember a pivotal day in my whole life that changed everything. And that was Mr. Bangelsdorf brought in a microscope. And in second grade, I was in second grade, kid, right? And I had a chance to look into that microscope and I saw amoeba moving around. I saw a little thing called a paramecium swimming around. And in my second grade mind, I said, oh my God, there are little things in there and they're alive and you can't see them. It's like, wow. I was so enthralled with the microscope that I went home and I said to my mom and dad, who they wouldn't just buy toys. So if I said, Mom, let me buy a cowboy hat and a gun or something, they would say, nah, not necessarily. But I went home and said, can I get a microscope? And I said, yes. And I was given a gift as a microscope by my parents. And I spent a lot of time and recognized this other world that exists below where you can't see. But it's an existing situation. And it's the foundation of the world that we do see. So, for example, you look at yourself in the mirror and you go, hey, I'm Talon. I'm the guy looking back at me. I'm that guy. I'm a single guy out here. I mean, Mary White. I'm a single entity out here. A guy, a human. I go, very nice, but an illusion. I go, what do you mean? I said, because you're actually a community of 50 trillion cells. That your whole life, your structure, your biology, your functions, your behavior are controlled by cells. All the things you couldn't see. Well, my whole research led me from that beginning with a regular microscope to my graduate education, where I became a cell biologist. And at that point, I wasn't using just a regular microscope. I was using what's called an electron microscope. Wow. Yeah, it's a wow, all right. You can barely see a cell with a light microscope. With the electron microscope, you can look inside the cell and see the proteins that are the building blocks of the cell. I mean, it's like, it goes deep. You can see the cell, the mechanisms of how things work. And I go, yeah, because the functions of this body are already present in every single cell with a nucleus in your body. Every cell has respiratory, digestive, excretory, nervous system, reproduction system. Cells even have an immune system. I go, what's the point? Well, if you want to understand the human, you could study a cell because it has the same functions. Well, that was what I had a great opportunity to do when I went to graduate school at the University of Virginia. And I worked under a man by the name of Erwin Koenigsberg, and what's important to me about that is he was a leader back then. And I said, well, let's go back then. Let's put a date on this old guy here. I was in graduate school doing research in 1967. So that was a few years ago, okay? But I had the opportunity of working with Dr. Koenigsberg, and he was one of the principal developers of cloning cells. And I said, well, what is cloning cells? I go, well, you put just one cell in a petri dish, just one cell, but it divides every 10 or 12 hours. So first you have one, then you have two, then you have four, then you have 8, 16, 32, in a few days you got thousands of cells. And what makes it unique? Why is that so important? Well, people grew cells in tissue culture before. What was cloning unique for? It started with one cell. It could end up with 10,000, 30,000 cells, but guess what? They're all genetically identical because they all came from one parent. So cloning says, I start with one cell, but I can create 30,000 genetically identical cells. And I was working with what are called stem cells. And you go, yeah, I've heard of stem cells. I go, well, let me give you the original name before they changed the name. It was called embryonic cell. I said, well, what does that mean? I said, your body is filled with embryonic cells. I said, yeah, but no, aren't you made out of 50 trillion working cells? Liver, muscle, bone? I go, yeah. But there's a population of those cells that are called stem cells, embryonic cells. I go, why? Now here comes a fact, and if you think about it, blow your mind. You ready? Every second, 3.5 million of your cells die. Oh, there's another 3.5 million. Oh, wow. There's another 3.5 million. They die every second. I go, well, how long can I live if all my cells are dying? The answer is, well, you have stem cells, embryonic cells, and their job is to replace the ones that are dying. And that's why you're still here, even though you're losing billions of cells every day. So I go, okay, what was I working with? Stem cells in graduate school, University of Virginia. And I'm growing them in tissue culture, but I'm also observing them with a regular microscope and looking at their behavior. But I'm also using the electron microscope and going into their anatomy and seeing how they work. Well, I'm getting an overall view of life, basically, okay? Mm-hmm. Hey, it was kind of fun for me, I'll tell you why. Every day when I go to work, I would see a part of the universe that no other human has ever seen before. Mm-hmm. Every day was like looking into, it's like Star Trek is going out. My work was going in, and saw this world. I started to understand something about how it worked. And I did one experiment, and my whole world changed. And that experiment was started in 1967. So what was it? Well, at the time, we were teaching, which people are still teaching, the belief that genes control life. I go, what does it mean when I teach you that genes control life? And here's what you didn't pay attention to. Number one, well, as far as you know, did you pick the genes you came with? And I go, I don't know. Well, if you don't like the characteristics that you have, can you change those genes? No, we can't do that. And then add on, and genes turn on and off by themselves. I go, what does that mean collectively? Your life is controlled by your genes, things you didn't even pick. And the genes are like blueprints, which they are, that unfold the character of your life. And then you're programmed that you don't even control them. They control you. So the moment you're born with a blueprint of genes that will determine the character of your life. Cancer, Alzheimer's, diabetes, heart disease. Oh, yeah, the genes are causing all this, and you're just the victim. And that's what we taught. The research I did back in 1967 changed everything. I go, what does it mean? Well, I have 30,000 genetically identical stem cells, embryonic cells. I said, what do? I said, well, I split them into 3 petri dishes. So 10,000, 10,000, 10,000 cells, 3 different dishes. All the cells are genetically the same. But we grow the cells in a liquid, a fluid. Cells are like fish. They live in a fluid. So when you cut yourself open, fluid leaks out because we're like an aquarium. Cells live in that. I have a synthetic environment called culture medium. which the cells live in. It's a fluid. I go, what is it? And this comes back in 1 second, I hope. Culture medium is the laboratory version of blood. If I grow human cells, I say, what's human blood made out of? And I mix it up in the lab and we call it culture medium and I grow the cells in it. Okay, great. Here's the story. 3 culture dishes, genetically identical cells in each one, but I changed the chemistry of the culture medium a little bit in 3 dishes. So they're not getting all the same environment, slightly different environment. Well, what was the result? In 1 dish, the cells form muscle. In another dish, the cells form bone. In a 3rd dish, the cells form fat cells. And I said, but wait, what controlled the fate of those cells? They said, well, genes. I go, no, wait. They all had the same genes. Why was it muscle, bone, fat? Oh, it was the environment that influenced which genes were being read. In different environments, the chemistry of the environment changed the genetics of the cell. And I go, now put the pieces together in the world revolution, and that is this. I mentioned you're a community of 30 trillion, 50 trillion amoebas. I go, so what? We are skin-covered petri dishes. Under your skin, you have 50 trillion amoebas, so to speak. I go, so what? Well, the fate of the cells, I say, what should they become? Muscle, bone, skin, brain? I go, well, that's controlled by the environment. I go, yeah, but what's the environment? Blood. Oh, the original culture medium. You're a skin-covered petri dish whose cells are being fed with the original culture medium called blood. I go, so what? Well, it was the chemistry of the culture medium that determined the fate of the cells. I go, yeah. And I go, well, then in the human body, it's the chemistry of the blood that determines the fate of the human cells. I go, well, blood has nutrition, isn't it? The building blocks, the energy. I go, yeah, that's a big part of the blood, but guess what? Blood carries information. It carries hormones. It carries emotional chemicals. It carries neurochemicals, controls from the brain, control chemistry. This is information. This is not nourishment. Your blood carries nourishment and information. I say, and the information is what? Chemistry. I goes, yeah, so then that chemistry of the blood comes from the brain. I go, yeah. Now I add the last piece in the world, I hope goes like that if you think about it. So, what chemistry should the brain put into the blood? And the answer is this. Whatever picture you hold in your mind, the brain translates the conscious picture into complementary chemistry. If you have a picture of love in your mind, you release great chemicals into the blood. Dopamine for pleasure, oxytocin to bond you with your lover, growth hormone, which gives you vitality. That's why when people fall in love, they're so healthy. But if you have a picture of fear in your mind, you don't release love chemistry, you release fear chemistry. Oh, what's that? Stress hormones. Factors that affect your immune system, factors that are getting you ready for fight or flight, protection. Well, wait. The fate of my cells is based on the chemistry of the blood. Yeah, but the chemistry of the blood is based on the picture of the consciousness. And then I say, yeah. So then all of a sudden I say, you want to change your life? You change the consciousness. Because the consciousness will create the chemistry. Well, if you have positive consciousness, then it creates positive energy and positive behavior and positive genetics. If you have negative consciousness, it's just the opposite way around. And so your consciousness is creating your health. And you go, oh, that sounds so new agey. I go, it's not. You know why? You ever hear the word called placebo? I say, yeah, what's that? Well, the person's very sick and nothing is working for them. And the doctor says, oh, here's the newest pill. This pill has the chemistry designed just for your illness. If you take this pill, you're going to get better. So the person takes the pills and they get better. And they say, yeah, thank you, pills, for making me better. And then you find out the pill was a sugar pill, a placebo. I go, yeah, that works. I go, so what's the point? The sugar pill didn't heal you. It was the conscious belief the sugar pill was going to heal you that healed you. You healed yourself with your belief. Well, that's the result of positive thinking. Everybody goes, yeah, placebo effect. Yeah, think it's the drug or the operation didn't heal you. It was your belief in the drug or the operation, and that heals you. Okay? I say, so that's called positive thinking. I go, yes, that's what it's about. And I say, what about negative thinking? Nobody's, what are you talking about? I said, nobody talks about negative thinking. I go, good time to know. You know why? Negative thinking is equally powerful in controlling your life as is positive thinking, but it works in the opposite direction. You can believe you're going to get cancer, you get cancer. You believe you're going to die, you can die. And all of a sudden it says, oh my goodness. And then negative beliefs take me out of balance and put me on the negative side. Well, over 90% of illness on this planet is all due to negative stress belief, not from genes. So yeah, there's a positive side called placebo, which can heal you of anything. The negative side is referred to as nocebo, which can cause anything. It can cause cancer, it can cause a rash, it can cause blindness. I go, why? Because it's consciousness that's creating the chemistry, which in turn controls the genetics and the behavior. And I'll add one last thing, Jolanda. I know this is a discussion between you and me, and I'm not shut up for a second, but I got to add one more thing
Sure.
that becomes really critical here. And this critical part is simply this, is that we are creating our lives with our experiences. And we have been programmed. I go, what do you mean? Because the brain is a computer. It is. It has every function that the desktop computer has. I go, why is that significant? I say, in the old days, we buy a computer. It didn't come with a program. You buy a brand new computer. You spend $1,000. You push start. The screen gets lit up. It boots up. And then you say, do something. You go, I can't do anything. Why? First, you have to put programs in the computer before you can use it. It turns out the brain is a computer. It boots up 3 months before you're born. But then it cannot be used until you download programs. And for the first 7 years of your life, your brain is operating below consciousness. It's operating in a state called theta, which is characterized as imagination. That's why kids can live in the imaginary world, you know. And they ride a broom, but in their mind, it's not a broom, it's a horse. It is a live horse, okay? Or the tea party, they poured nothing into the cup, they drink nothing, and they said, that's the best tea they ever had. I said, that's theta. The theta is hypnosis. I go, you got your programs in the first 7 years by doing what? Well, you were too young to go to school, read a book, take a class. You can't do that. Oh, nature put you in hypnosis. I say, why? Because all you have to do is watch your mother and your father, watch your community, and you're downloading behavior. What? Your parents' behavior, your community's behavior, and guess what? Those are the programs that are built into the subconscious mind. Below conscious, they operate without you knowing it. So what's the point? Where'd you get your programs from? Not from you. You got them from observing other people. Mother, father, family, culture. You downloaded them in a state of hypnosis. You don't even know what the hell your programs are. Why? Because I say, well, tell me the programs. You started programming 3 months before you were born. Give me the program you got before you were born. It's like, I don't know. Oh, well, guess what? You were programmed the whole year from 0 to 1. Tell me the program you got when you were 0. No, I don't know. Okay, wait, you were programmed another whole year from 1 to 2. Tell me the program that you got when you were 1. No, I don't know. But then I say, oh, from 2 to 3, guess what? You start to have memory experiences. And then you can start to tell me about some of your early life then. You can't tell me the program you got in the first 2 years of your life, which are the most fundamental programs. I say, where'd you get the program? observing mother, father, family, community. I go, then what? Well, those are the programs in your computer, in the subconscious mind. I go, then what happens when you become conscious? The programs are in the hard drive. When you're operating from the conscious, you get to type on the keys where you type in what you want. Great. Problem. The conscious mind is creative. The subconscious mind programs. That the programs run your life. I go, why? Why can't my conscious mind with wishes and desires? That's what the conscious mind. Jalon, tell me what the hell you want from your life. And if you give me an answer, I say, I know where it came from. Conscious creativity. I want this. I want that. I want this. Conscious mind. So I go, so the conscious mind can create this for you? I go, absolutely. I said, then why aren't we creating heaven on earth? Because everybody wants the same things. I go, because we're not operating from the conscious mind. No, come on. I say, are you operating from your program in the computer, or are you operating from the keyboard? You say, oh, you operate when you're typing on the keyboard. Oh, so when the conscious mind is operating, you're the creator. I go, yes. But when you're thinking, you're not typing on the keyboard. When you're thinking, you're disconnected from the world. I go, why? Because to pay attention to the world, you have to look out the eyes like the windshield of a car and drive toward wishes and desires. But when you're thinking, you're not looking out, you're looking in. Thought is inside. I go, so what? Well, if you're actually driving a car and thinking about going to the store, then you're actually not driving the car. I go, what do you mean? I said, because if your conscious mind is already thinking, it's not looking out the windshield. Because thinking is looking inside. What am I going to do? Where am I going to get? Where am I going? Why am I doing? Blah, 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 blah. So the moment you're thinking, you're not looking out. I go, oh my God, if you're really driving the car, then if you start thinking you could kill yourself or something, you're not paying attention. I go, no. Subconscious is autopilot. When you are thinking, the subconscious takes over. It knows how to drive the car. You taught it how to drive the car. You practiced. You made a habit. That's teaching. So I go, so what? Well, it turns out scientists recognize you think 95% of the day. I go, so what? Well, the conscious creative mind then is only functioning 5% of the day. Because when you're thinking, you're not using it. I go, oh. And then I said, well, then what's running my life 95% of the day? I go, the program. Oh, you go, oh, the program's running. I said, but guess just what happened? I said, what? You were thinking, you were not paying attention to the program. The program plays autopilot. Your mind is busy doing something, subconscious will play it. It knows how to do it. I go, great. Uh-oh, not great. Why? What if you have a negative program? Will you see it? No. Will everybody else see it? Yes. When they respond to you, will they respond to the conscious, creative, wishing, and loving desire conscious mind? No, you're not playing that. You're playing subconscious program. And then where'd you get that? Somebody else. You're not playing your life. You're playing a program. 95% of the day. I go, oh my God. Why is this important? Because I'm the only one unaware of my own program. I go, why? Because I was thinking, so I wasn't listening to what I was saying. It was automatic. So a simple story. You have a friend, you know your friend's behavior. You happen to know your friend's parent. One day you see your friend has the same behavior as the parent. So you go, hey, Jalon, you're just like your dad. And before Jalon says anything, I know exactly what he's going to say. And he's going to say, how can you compare me to my dad? I'm nothing like my dad. And that's what people generally say, actually, when you say they're just like your parent. I'm not like my parent. And yet everybody else, yes, you are. You're the only one to say, I'm not like my parent. And everybody else says, yes, you are. Why? Because they've seen the behavior, you didn't see it. And all of a sudden I said, then are you creating your life? I say, no, your program's creating your life. I go, Oh, this is new science. I go, well, the science of it is now newly understood. The mechanism, 400 years, people have known the mechanism. I go, what do you mean? Well, the Jesuits have told their followers for 400 years, they would say, give me a child until it is 7 and I will show you the man. I go, what did they know? The science that we now know. What is that? First 7 years programming. The rest of your life, 95% program. So that's why the Jesuits said, let's make Catholic school. Why? We'll teach them to be Catholic before they're 7. And then the rest of their life, the program will run, they'll always be Catholic. And that's a true statement. Except today, the programming is more insidious. I go, what do you mean? Come on, man. That was primitive programming Catholic school. Today, look at an infant that can barely walk carrying an iPad. Now you're looking at some serious programming. And the point about it is this. Are you living your life or are you living a program? And the answer is this. Well, 95% of your life is the program, so basically you're living your program. And I said, well, how do you know what your programs are? I said, well, since your life is 95% your program, your life is a printout of your program. And I said, so what does that mean? I said, well, look at the things in your life that come into your life that you like. How do they come into your life? Oh, you have a program to acknowledge and accept those things. I go, great. Then I say, look at where you struggle in life, where you work hard. You put a lot of effort into it. I'm sweating over it. I'm going to make it happen. I'm working hard. Why are you working so hard? Because whatever that destination you are seeking, if you're working hard to get there, it means your program doesn't support that. And you're trying to override the program. I go, ooh, that's going to be a problem. Because the program runs 95% of the time with a processor 1,000,000 times more powerful than the conscious brain, the creator processor. Yeah, life is a struggle, and you're not living your life, you're living a program. And when we all collectively have been programmed, the collective program is called culture. And the collective program is what's called civilization, because we've all been programmed to believe the same story. And when we believe the same story, each of us manifests a part of the same story. But until you finally recognize it, you say, wait a minute, I'm playing a program. I go, the movie The Matrix is not science fiction, it's a documentary. Why? Premise. Everybody's programmed. That's the whole foundation of the movie. You've been programmed. You're not living your life, you're living a program. But then they talk about, but you can take a red pill and get out of that program. And almost everybody out here listening to me today right now has taken that red pill at least once and profoundly changed your life in 24 hours. What do you mean? Did you ever fall in love? Why? Because before you met that person, your life was blah, 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 blah. Then you meet them. You fall in love. 24 hours later, you have a different life. 24 hours later, you're living the honeymoon. Life is beautiful. Life is great. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I'm joyous. I love my life. From blah, 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 24 hours, then I love my life, heaven on earth? Yes, because what the red pill is stopping the program. Falling in love, science has recognized, is the equivalent of the red pill. I say, why? Well, let's go back and say, why are you playing the program? Because you're thinking, that's why. But what if you just met somebody and fell in love? Guess what? You stop thinking. You stay present. The word is you stay mindful. I go, what does that mean? You've been looking for this person your whole life. This isn't time to think and disconnect. It's time to be here. So guess what? For the first time, you stop thinking. So then what? You stop playing the program. You took the red pill. And what did you do? You created heaven on earth. I go, heaven on earth was always here. But the red pill is what allowed you to see it, because without it, you were stuck in the program creating what everybody else told you the program was. And today is the wake-up day, my friends. Today's the wake-up world. We're being pushed into another reality because the existing reality is not sustainable, which means we have to change our behavior and change our beliefs and change our knowledge of what's going on. I go, yeah, that's why there's new knowledge. The new knowledge says you are the powerful creator. And all this time you believed you were the victim. Well, you were only the victim because of the program. If the program doesn't exist, then you're a powerful creator. Wow! Hey, I'm not the only guy saying that. You may have heard a guy who said, Jesus, oh Jesus, that guy, yeah. He said, all the miracles that you see me do, you can do those and even better than I, but you don't believe. Well, the church says you don't believe, finish the sentence, in Jesus. No, Jesus didn't mean believe in me. Jesus said believe in what I'm telling you. Believe in what? You are a powerful creator. He said that. But that was before we knew what was going on. And obviously before the Jesuits knew, but then the Jesuits knew early on that, oh my God, I can program their creativity. And as the Matrix movie said, what's the function of the Matrix? And Morpheus holds up a battery. He says to turn you into a power unit. You're here to do a power, push a button, lift a shovel, whatever the hell it is, but not to be the creator, just to be the power unit. They took away your creativity. They programmed you to be this. And guess what? The new science, which is not new, 100 years old, quantum physics. Do you know what the first principle of this is, and why should I mention quantum physics? It's the most valid science on planet Earth. There is no science with more truth than quantum physics. So what? Because principle number one, quantum physics, the mind is the creator of all matter. And this is the current understanding of quantum physics. I will close with an opportunity to let you say something, Jelon, after I finish this last thing. One more last thing, but I've always got one more last, but I'll do hopefully one more.
Sure.
In 1927, founding father of quantum physics, Max Planck, said, the mind is the creator of all matter. And then you say, well, yeah, but that was 100 years ago. I go, not that long ago, 2016, in the journal Nature, the most prestigious scientific journal on planet Earth, there was an article from a physicist, Richard Conn Henry, and his article was entitled The Mental Universe. And he said, well, do I have to read the article? I go, you know what? The last sentence is the whole meaning of everything. I go, what does it mean? Well, quantum physics is a science that said there's no such thing as matter and energy as separate things. Matter and energy are the same. It's all energy, okay? And the significance of this, taking matter and recognizing its energy, is that energy shapes matter. And consciousness is energy, okay? And that our consciousness is shaping the material experience that we have. Quantum physics, 1927. But in nature, and this is the closing sentence, and the point about it is, in quantum physics, what you have been programmed to be an atom, a physical thing, in quantum physics, when they finally took it down to the bare bones of what it was made out of, it was made out of energy. An atom is a form of energy. I go, yeah, but everything called matter is atoms. I go, yeah, it's all energy. Everything's energy. So the universe is not made out of matter, made out of energy. Excuse me. So the last sentence in this most prestigious journal, the article Mental Universe, the last sentence, ready? The universe is immaterial. It's not made out of matter. It's made out of energy. The universe is immaterial. It's mental and spiritual. Live and enjoy. That's the closing sentence in an article in the most prestigious scientific journal. It's something we have to own and learn and change our belief system about. Because we have to recognize your consciousness, your mentation, your spiritual connection is what's shaping the life on this planet. And if your consciousness has been programmed by somebody to take you out of power, then you have lost your power. And this is the issue. All of us are creators. And then you look around and say, I wouldn't create this mess. I say, not you, you're conscious. That's you. Your program creates this world. And if you get out of that program, fall in love, you have a different world. I go, that's all it took, is to get out of the program. And we're waking up to a world that says the existing program is not sustainable. Civilization cannot continue going in this process. It's going to end within 20 years. The symptoms of world chaos are just symptoms of a system that's breaking down. And you're in the breakdown. And the last thing is your choice. You can hold on to the culture that's collapsing, or you can let go and join a new culture that's being created. And this is why I'm honored to be Jalon's show, because he is presenting you with options and opportunities to join the new world and get out of the self-destructive conventional world that you're watching on TV right now. Those are programs, and you're influencing because you're participating in those programs. You don't have to. You can step out, and you can create the happiest, most wonderful life experience in the world, because you're a creator. But if you create from your wishes and desires, conscious mind, versus coming from the programs in your subconscious mind, you create a different world, and it's your choice. Right, Jalon?
Indeed.
Are you still here?
I've been following you for years, and I don't think I've ever been wowed the way I was just listening to you. And there's so many points that you made. I mean, I had an outline, and it's completely gone now because I have so many other things.
This is live. It's not Memorex. All right.
So basically, we are all petri dishes from cells to consciousness.
Exactly.
And the consciousness affects the environment, and the environment affects the cells.
There's this harmony that exists, or in the case of today's world, this disharmony between those two that exists. And the evolution is you better learn the harmony, because disharmony is destruction. And that's where we are.
So for someone who may have never heard of you and this science lesson that we just got, and they say, okay, well, wow, if my environment can control my cells because the environment has an effect on my biology, how important then would it be for them to be able to recognize what the environment can do to their beliefs and even affect them down to a cellular level?
Well, we're experiencing this in many different ways. One is a health crisis that affects the whole world at this moment. And everyone goes, oh, the health crisis. Yeah, people are getting sicker. I go, why are people getting sicker? And we say, well, genes cause illness. The truth from science, less than 1% of disease, less than 1% of disease is even connected to genetics. 99% of disease is environment and consciousness. I said, yeah, but those are two things we have control over. Well, you didn't know you had control over it, so you were programmed not to have control over it. And look what the result is. Healing does not require pharmaceutical drugs. It requires a change in consciousness. We want to fix the machine. It's sort of like, hey, your car is a vehicle. You are a driver. If you're a good driver, the car lasts for a long time. If you're a bad driver, the car's in a junkyard. Well, the junkyard is a hospital. And I go, so why is this important? Because we keep blaming the vehicle for its breaking down. I go, no, you're the driver of the vehicle. And if you're not driving in harmony, disharmony is disease. And this is where it comes from. It did not come from genes.
So let me ask you this, because in my community, we always say that high blood pressure, diabetes, all of this is genetic.
Not
And
zero,
right, so
zero.
what we could be passing down is just programs.
You are passing that. Everybody's got programmed. That's the matrix. You didn't get here. I didn't get here without us first being programmed in the first 7 years, where the mind is functioning in a state of hypnosis to download behavior, to conform to a family, and to conform to the world. And if we get bad download, then not only does it affect our life, this is important, but we will pass the bad download on to the next generation, because they're going to be looking at us and we're going to be playing 95% of the day the bad programming I got from my parent. So it runs in families. Cancer runs in families. We always say, oh, well, genes run in family. I go, well, genes do run in family. But cancer isn't due to genes. Cancer is due to disharmony in your community of cells, which is starting from a brain, which is the government. What are you telling yourself? Are you living in fear? Are you living in joy? Right, because you got 50 trillion citizens paying attention to your message. Why? Your message of your thought was turned into chemistry. That's the messenger. The chemistry goes to the cells and is translated by the cells into behavior. So the whole idea is this, is that, oh my God, I have 50 trillion cells in my community. Do I respect them? Do I honor them? Do I take care of them? I go, guess what? If you have a pet, a cat or a dog, you probably take much better care of your cat or your dog than of the 50 trillion cells in your own biology. We're not living in harmony with ourselves. Health, harmony; disease, disharmony. That's the simple answer. And so when I want to work with, I want to change health, it's not the pharmaceutical drug. That's a crutch that actually sometimes is more damaging than the problem. And the issue is what? We want to fix the body from here down when the source of the problem was from here up. If you don't fix the consciousness, the body is going to always be out of harmony. We have to change the world, because you, me, we were all programmed to believe we were victims of genetics, heredity. Our life is going to unfold according to a program I had nothing to do with, and it's going to control my life. I'm going to get cancer because everybody else in my family got the cancer. And I say, oh, I'm a victim. That's the problem. Because if you believe in that, you call yourself a victim. I am powerless. My genes control me. I do not control the genes, and therefore I am powerless and locked into my heredity. I go, 100% false. You've been programmed to believe you're a victim. And you've been programmed to say, well, I must take these drugs. I go, you make your own drugs in your mind. Your mind is the chemist that creates those drugs. You go, what do you mean? I go, if a drug works, it works because it is a signal recognized by a cell. Well, if a cell can recognize a signal, then did it wait for the pharmaceutical company to make the signal? No. It already had a naturally occurring signal that would do the same thing. A drug only works if you are making the same chemistry somewhere in your body. So you're saying, I'm not making the chemistry, and you say, give me the drug. And I go, maybe you're not making the chemistry because your programming doesn't give you that. You could be programmed to get cancer. Yeah, that's a disharmony. And no matter how much macrobiotic food, doesn't mean I don't get cancer. Cancer is not relevant to the diet. Cancer is a program. And high blood pressure, a program. Stress, a program. Recognized by programmers. The people that make your education, the people that control your health, the people that you give your power up to and say, you tell me and I'll do what you said. The government. We tell you. I go, boy, some of the bull that you've been telling me, I don't want to listen to this anymore, because you're making it worse. You're making people fight against each other when evolution is people coming together in harmony. Community is evolution. Not genetics. It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with community. The more people that share awareness, the more consciousness the community expresses. The more consciousness expresses, the more power it expresses in controlling the lives of that people in that community.
Um, as I was listening to you, I started to think about a book that I read probably 25 years ago, Think and Grow Rich
Yes,
by Napoleon Hill. And
absolutely.
there was
How about,
something
let me
that,
just ask at the same time, are you familiar with the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
sure,
Same story. Okay, go ahead, tell the story.
there was something that they said in the book, and it was, whatever you think you are, you're right. And after listening to you, like, that could not be more of a profound statement and more true as well.
I had to learn that, and I want people to understand. I happen to be in the right place at the right time to see the unfolding of this nature of environment and genes and how it works, epigenetics, and new science. When I saw the mechanism of it, the first thing I said, oh my God, if you understand this mechanism, you can create the most beautiful life on this planet. So I wanted to gather people together. I said, come on, let me tell you the story, the new science of how this works and how you can create heaven on earth, blah, blah, blah. And I start talking, and then they would look at me and they go, Lipton, for a guy says, this, your life doesn't look that great. I was telling the story without walking the talk. I was saying, this is good. You do it. I didn't do it. And I realized, oh my God, I'm a false guy up there. I didn't do it. Does it really work? How the hell do I know? And I said, no more lecturing until I demonstrate this in my own life. Well, hey, I'm 80, but the last 40, the last half, I have had a life of heaven on earth. I love my life. For 40 years, I wake up every day going, oh my God, I'm still here. I have another day to do what? Enjoy. I love the planet. I love nature. Food's fun. Music's fun. Movies are great. I love all these things. Yeah, so guess what? I enjoy my life. Am I stressed? Nope. I learned how to eliminate the stress because I learned I was the one creating the stress. And by changing my response to the universe, I've created heaven on earth for 40 years. I even wrote a book called The Honeymoon Effect. A guy who couldn't get a relationship off the ground for 40 years because of the programming I downloaded from my dysfunctional father. Once I learned how to change the program, I have been living heaven on earth for 40 years. With what? The joy, waking up. I have no idea what the future is. I'm not saying, oh, Bruce, next Friday you're going to do. I have no idea. I'm going to just go whatever day says. I got some calendar things, but hey, they're written down. Whatever. I don't know. But I wake up with this. I'm happy to be on this planet for another day. Because another day is filled with experiences and opportunities. And that's the joy. You're not fixed unless you do the program and lock into the program. Then your life is predetermined. You know when you're going to get sick. You know when you're going to die. And all this is predetermined because you're playing out a program that you got from somebody else. And I have rewritten the program. And the rewriting of the program leads into, what if I'm thinking 95% of the day now? I go, oh yeah, just like before. I'm playing programs 95% of the day. Yeah, but now what's different? I rewrote the negative programs and replaced them with positive programs. Think and be rich. Okay, I replaced the rich dad program with poor dad. I replaced the poor dad one. Why? Because what's the programming of a rich person versus a poor person? Rich person, oh, well, we always live in luxury. Everything's great. Look, we always have the money. Everything's here. We always got everything. We got everything. What about the poor family? We'll never get anything. No matter how hard we're working, we'll always get poor. We'll never succeed. I go, well, since consciousness is the creator, what do you think is a consequence? Rich people stay rich, poor people stay poor in general. And all of a sudden, it's like, why? The program was passed down to lose your power. And when we lost this power, we became whatever the program said. And we were the ones that were being programmed by those who knew how to control the program. And I said, I'm free from them. I'm doing my own. And it's so beautiful. Would I recommend it? I said, there's no other way to live on this planet than to live in the positive vision, creative, conscious mind and manifest those experiences. I said, yeah, but 95% of the day I'm thinking. I said, well, that's why if you rewrite the belief, then 95% of the day when you're thinking, the subconscious program is playing what you wanted. So it manifests whether you're paying attention or not. In fact, the subconscious can get you what you want faster than your conscious mind can get you. So all of a sudden it says, well, then what's the issue? Not changing your genes, not changing your biology, it's changing the program. And once you
Okay,
have
so question for you.
Yeah.
Because you told your story about how the last 40 years of your life, you changed your programming. And then you also mentioned about how the first 7 years of our life, we're in theta, which allows us access to the subconscious. If someone wants to change their programming, what would they have to do? Because if the subconscious doesn't allow us access to it, except for 5% of the day, how do we get to it? How do we change the programs?
Well, the first thing is this: you first have to recognize you have a program. Okay.
Sure.
And then I said, well, what are the programs? I said, well, 95% of your life is a program. So as we mentioned, your life is a manifestation of your program. If it's a positive life, you got good programs going. Got a negative life, you got bad programs going. So that's it. I said, but how do you change it? I said, well, how did you get the program? I said, the first 7 years, your mind was in theta. I said, what's that? I said, put wires on a person's head, electroencephalograph. I can read your brain function. The vibrations are scales. But right now, the higher vibration of talking and you and me together with this community, the vibration of the brain should be in beta, which is high energy, high vibration, high consciousness. When you go home and relax at night before you go to bed, you calm your consciousness down to a lower vibration called alpha. And that the moment you fall asleep, alpha consciousness disconnects. You're not conscious. Your body is now laying there. But guess what? For the next number of minutes, the brain is at the next lower vibration called theta. Oh, but that was hypnosis. I go, yes. So I say, so what? Well, if I want to change the program, I could get a program I want to be true in my life. And as I'm going to bed, I put earbuds or earphones on. And the moment I fall asleep, if the program is playing, my conscious mind doesn't hear the program, but my subconscious is in record. It's called self-hypnosis. But it's a short period of theta, so you have to repeat this, but it's a self-hypnosis. You just repeat it a number of times, and one day you wake up, you never have to play the program again, because unconsciously when you were sleeping, you rewrote the program. That's kind of beautiful. What do you need to do to rewrite? Fall asleep. Because then theta is working for a short period of time, which is hypnosis, or whatever input is coming in when you are sleeping is going straight into the subconscious program. Okay. Number 2. Yeah, but after age 7, I still got programs. I learned how to drive a car. I learned how to play a music instrument. I know how to play them. I say, well, how did you learn this? The answer is repetition, practice, repeat it. You make a habit by repetition. You repeat something over and over and over again. There's a point where the repetition then becomes a program. You don't have to think about driving the car once you know how to drive the car. In fact, most of you people out there that are driving car aren't even paying attention to driving the car. You're thinking. You're thinking of where you're going, what you're doing, what's happening next, or what's going on in my life. And you're driving the car, you're thinking, guess what? You are not you, conscious spirit entity, you're not driving the car. I go, well, then who's driving the car? You gave the program to the subconscious, which is 1,000,000 times more powerful computer than your conscious mind in the first place. So I say, oh, it's called habituation. First level is hypnosis. Second level, habituation. You want something to be true? Just keep repeating that behavior. Actors do this. They take on a character. They don't just learn the lines of the script. They learn the character of the person they're playing. And the best actors become that character so much that they're not themselves anymore. you know, some of the most amazing actors, my goodness, yeah. Well, Renee Zellweger, I always bring her up for a simple reason. She made 2 movies, The Diary of Bridget Jones. I go, so what? The character Bridget Jones is 40 pounds heavier than Renee. Well, guess what? She got into character. She gained 40 pounds and became Bridget Jones. Functionally, behaviorally, script, she got the whole thing. Guess what? Movie's over, last day, shot, done, in the can. She loses the 40 pounds and comes back to Renee Zellweger, the original personality that was in there until she took on Bridget Jones. And I go, we can all be actors. We can all make a script. We can make a character of what we want, and we practice. And as you practice, it becomes real. Okay? So first step is hypnosis. Second step, habituation. Repeat something because it becomes habit. And then there's a third way, which is like the most exciting way, because we're facing a evolutionary upheaval within these few years coming in front of us right now. We have to change very quickly. There's a new way of creating change. It's called energy psychology. It's not your mom's psychology. It's a whole different game here. It doesn't care about the past. I say, why? Well, I don't care who did what to who. You walked away with a program. They're not here anymore. Bringing them back into the story is a waste of time. Don't kill the messenger who taught you the message over the message. You want to change the message? You don't have to go back and get the messenger. Screw them. They're not here anyway. You have the message. So energy psychology deals with what's your program. Oh, well, that's what we look at right now. What's working in your life? What's not working in your life? And then say, well, let's rewrite the program. Can I do that? And answer some of these processes. You can change the program in 15 minutes that you've had your whole life and walk away. I know that because I use a process called Psyche, and my life was changed in 2 15-minute interventions with the Psyche process. I go, well, wait, let me help you. On my website, brucelipton.com, very simple, brucelipton.com. I have under resources, belief change modalities. And there are over 25 different versions of energy psychology that can be employed to rewrite your life. Some of them in minutes, like the Psyche process. I say, these are the ways to change your life. You don't change the world. You change the consciousness, and the world changes after that. So going out and trying to change the world with consciousness that's not working is actually self-defeating at some point. It doesn't work really good. And we're in a moment of, well, look, we have to change the world. So what do we want to do? Don't take the old program with you, man. It's time to be creative and say, what is it we want in the new world? And this is a very difficult question, Delon. Difficult to this extent. You ask a lot of people, what do you want? And they will, they can tell you what they don't want. I don't want this. I don't want that. It's very difficult for some people to tell you, what do they want? If you can't answer that question, you can't get it. Because you have to have an intention. And then you put it into the mechanism, and the subconscious will manifest that intention without you even thinking about it, because it's operating all the time, whether you're paying attention or not. And it's creating your life. Your life is not coming from an unfolding of the conscious mind except during the honeymoon. But on a regular day, your life is unfolding from the programs you downloaded in the subconscious mind. You want to change the world. It's not changing the conscious mind. That already has the wishes and desires. It's changing the program, which is preventing you from manifesting those wishes and desires.
Wow.
Boy, did I talk a lot. I bet we went way off the script you have written here, Delon.
I'm 1,000% happy with everything you said. And I think that anyone who listens to this will agree that your message and the information that you shared is astounding and remarkable.
I'm so excited because, well, first of all, hey, listen, for 40 years, I've had power over my life. And I don't have a doctor. I don't take pharmaceutical drugs. I'm 80 years old. I'm very excited to be alive. I move, all the parts are still working and all that great stuff. And almost all of that is due to consciousness. Why do people fall apart? Because they believe aging is a breakdown of the system. And since life is based on belief, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to break the system down. You're going to age because you believe you're going to age. Belief is very powerful. And all of us have a belief, but all of us in general have no awareness that the beliefs that we're running our life with are not the wishes and desires of the conscious mind, but they're the beliefs of the downloaded programs in the subconscious mind. And that's why I said, well, your life is a printout. Are you happy with what's going on? If not, then you have to change the program.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I want to ask you a bit of a personal question.
Please do.
If there was one thing that you want to be known for or that would define your legacy, what would you want that to be?
The happy boy. The guy who's just happy with understanding how beautiful it is, that not waiting to die and find heaven on earth, but to live heaven on earth of every day of my life. To live that red pill. Live the reality that life is a honeymoon. I love that. I love my life. Every day I wake up and I'm just so honored to have an experience on this planet. I want it to go as long as it can. And as my research reveals, while my body dies, my spirit is always here. I can come back in another body in reincarnation as a scientific reality. I come back again, and I hope I keep enjoying my trip here. I love this planet.
Thank you for sharing that. All right, last question.
Yeah.
If you could use your platform to educate anyone who might be struggling with their mental or emotional health or is stuck in a program and is unsure of where to start, what would you say?
The first thing to start with is look at your programs. That's what I mentioned. Your life is your printout of your programs. This helps you focus on what is it you really want to change in your life. If you can't see that, then you say, well, I want to change. I go, what do you want to change? I say, well, first you have to recognize where's the issue you want to change. Are you looking for love? Are you looking for health? Are you looking for a better job? You can look for them. And you can even put a couple of those together and program them at the same time. But the idea is, what are you looking for? If you cannot answer that question, you cannot get it. And the more you define what you're looking for, the more you will manifest what you're looking for. In other words, I want to be happy. I go, what the hell is that? Well then, I want to be healthy. I want to have a great relationship. I want to have a great job. And now you're making details. And then the more detail you make, the more your subconscious will manifest it. Whatever you leave out, this is a very important point. Whatever you leave out of the future vision you want, the universe looks like it's a wild card. Fills it in with, you didn't put anything in that blank. The universe filled it in for you. I say, no. Visualize everything as if you are living in that future. This is a homework assignment. You're living in the future. Where? What is your place like? What's your community like? What job are you doing? Why? The more you visualize that positive future, the more detail you put in, the more the subconscious programming system will manifest that detail. It's the subconscious that is the powerful processor that is determining the outcome at this point. And if you can't fully define it, then you're leaving open parts of that definition to be random from the universe. So, don't do that. Fill in every detail you possibly can, because that's what you're going to manifest.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Lipton.
Bruce.
I know you said I can call you Bruce, but I just have so much respect for you. It feels off.
Now,
So
listen, ma'am, I want to thank you because you now provided me with a platform where I can talk to a lot of people about this. And I go, yes, you are. So you're saving me a lot of time and energy because by being here with you, I get a bigger audience. So I want to thank you for that opportunity to offer some insight and wisdom about, hey, man, you don't have to get old and fall apart. You're going to enjoy this thing for a long, long time, which is my intention.
that's great. So if somebody wanted to find you online or on social media, where can they find you?
BruceLipton.com. Very simple.
Okay. And then what about your books?
Amazon, bookstores. The biology of belief is selling for 20 years continuously. It's available at most bookstores and especially on book distributors online. They'll all have that for sure.
Okay, great. All right, well, Bruce, I want to thank you for your time, for your knowledge, for your expertise. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for how you do it.
And all that goes back. Thank you, Talam, for giving me this opportunity to be who I can be and offer what I would like other people to take into consideration for their empowerment. Because if they become empowered, I trust them, meaning the people. I don't trust the government or the corporations because they're manipulators of this power to not support us, but to support them. So I trust the average person on the street who has a regular job to say, but if we collectively get together, then we become the power.